Who is the one person in history who is smarter than people make him look? Thomas Edison gets a lot of shit for not inventing a lot of the stuff he's credited with inventing. But he was the one who made these inventions commercially viable, measuring whose intelligence was greater on an essential level, or which was of greater scientific value, is a fool's errand. Edison wouldn't have had anything to improve upon without the initial invention, but without his innovations nobody would care that an electric light source had been invented. Matt Damon is famously depicted as unintelligent in Team America, despite having successfully navigated Hollywood fame and the creative process with an alacrity and deftness few could imitate. He's also exceptionally gifted as an actor, and I believe it takes some intelligence to hit those Philip Seymour Hoffman, Meryl Streep, James Stewart levels of on-screen preciousness. Be good to wash your hands to prevent the spread of bacteria and infection, and got thrown into an asylum for being frustrated when no one believed him, despite having a very probable positive effect. Pasteur and Lister were more successful in promoting medical cleanliness, but Semmelweis did get there first. Not sure if this counts cause he's already kinda respected. But George Washington, the first president of the US, people wanted to make him king. And he could have been. But he was like, are you fucking nuts? What the hell did we just fight for? I refuse to be king. Now he wasn't perfect by any means, but in this regard, gotta give respect. RTS figures count. But not only was Yogi Berra an 18-time NLB All-Star and a 10-time world champion, but he was also a successful team manager after his playing days were over, and was incredibly witty. But few remember his legacy because he has a funny name. John, King of England. Not saying he was a genius by any means, but there is a popular notion that he couldn't read. He could, and we quite treasured his library. He didn't write his name on the Magna Carta because that's not what kings did. He put his royal seal on it. I'm with Robert Evans when I say while it's not easy to digest now, I firmly believe that historians will record Osama bin Laden as an absolute tactical genius. He was an evil and horrible cunt, but I still stand by what I said. Canute the Great, and interpretations of the story of him trying to stop the waves suggest that it was intended as a demonstration of the limits of the power of a king. Even he couldn't overrule the laws of nature. God. For her time she was considered just a pretty face, but she was brilliant, and her inventions which allowed ships to communicate wirelessly to their torpedo is still found in modern-day Wi-Fi networks. Neville Chamberlain. He gets a lot of flack for appeasing Hitler. The sad fact is that he didn't have any better options. The UK wasn't strong enough to fight Germany, and the US wasn't offering to help. While Neville Chamberlain used to be historians' whipping bow for his appeasement politics and newer perspective stresses the time he effectively bought for Britain to prepare UK's military. Apparently Rowan Atkinson is very smart, has a Masters of Electrical Engineering from Oxford, as well as writing a lot of his own material. It also takes brains to be a great comedian. Hitler. Evil, yes. Despicable human being, yes. Figured out how to convince an entire country and few others to follow his murderous plan. That takes at least a half a brain. John von Neumann. People make him look smart. But when you're referred to as on a different level than Einstein, and not in a negative way, you're pretty freaking smart. Nikola Tesla, often in Edison's shadow. But the man was wireless before Wi-Fi was cool. Talk about being ahead of his time with those electrifying ideas. I feel like even though he's considered one of the smartest men ever, Newton is probably still smarter than we make him look. How funny these comments got all. I was thinking Hitler, Edison, maybe Steve Jobs, no point in posting. It's been said, King Canute, he didn't genuinely believe he could control the tide. He was trying to demonstrate that kings are just men. That man put on a straight-up masterclass of the 48 laws of power. To this day people still think Cheney used Bush. Captain Bligh. After being cast at sea he navigated over 1,500 miles to safely and became governor of Australia. Marilyn Monroe has an image of the ditzy blonde, but she was intelligent and quite the bookworm. I have a hunch that Paris Hilton is smarter than most people think she is. Charlie Chaplin. Danny DeVito was known to be a pretty clever lad. Boris Johnson, a wonker. A well-read multilingual wonker. Paris Hilton, don't know if she counts as history though.